88.1 XFM Toronto's hit music station. Also another sponsored episode of Mike Time with Marty. Sponsored by Mike Time with Marty, now available on Spotify and iHeartRadio. I have a very familiar face. You may recognize him from America's Got Talent, TikTok, and other social media platforms. He's also a news reporter. Say hello to the one, the only Jack the Whipper.
Pleasure to be here. Thanks for having me.
No worries. So, first of all, how did you get started becoming Jack the Whipper?
So it was pretty simple. I grew up in the circus, and so I learned to crack whips from my dad when I was 7 years old. And I went to normal school, and did all that. Performed on the side with my dad on the weekends, or sometimes I'd miss a little, couple weeks of school to go and do shows. But when I was 18 and I went to college, and I was looking at like, all right, how do I want to make money?
Mhm.
It was like, all right, I can go work in an ice cream shop, and I think the minimum wage then was $8 an hour, or I can just go try street performing. And so I tried doing street performing, busking, doing whip tricks in Harvard Square next to Harvard University, and I realized I'm like, all right, okay, so this works. Built a show out over the next couple of years. Started putting together this character specifically for Renaissance fairs, just because I had grown up doing Renaissance fairs with my dad. And here we are 15 years later after my first year performing Shaxi Whipper, where now I'm doing it nationwide.
Wow, that is absolutely amazing. So, how does it feel going from doing Renaissance fairs to making Simon Cowell literally split his legs?
So it was definitely the most nervous I've been on stage. I don't want to say ever because the earliest shows I did I was pretty nervous, but it was certainly the most nervous I've been on stage in a good long while. Certainly in my professional career, I would say. It was kind of a funny thing though. I mean, I was really nervous before the audition. As soon as I got Simon on stage after he had buzzed me, I wasn't nervous anymore because I was like, all right, he can't do anything else to me. What else is he gonna do? So I was like, all right, well let's do this. You're on my turf now. You're on the stage, and while I'm on the stage, that's for lack of a better term, that's my space
Mm,
essentially. And so as soon as I got that on, I was like, okay, we're good.
okay. So, um, I watched the video and it said that you were trying to get Howie on there, but Howie wasn't there. Were you planning on getting Simon on stage, or were you going
No,
to get Terry, or were you going to do it yourself?
I no, I was fully determined to do that trick on myself. I didn't want to go anywhere near Simon. I didn't want to. What I was worried with Simon was one, Simon actually made me nervous, and two, I didn't think Simon was going to be a good person to play with on stage, and that was my biggest concern. I mean, the worst thing that can happen is you go and you get a volunteer. You say, "Hey, can you help me with this trick?" And they say no, because that just it stops the momentum of the show cold. And I was fully confident that Howie would have helped me out with that. I was not confident that Simon would do that. I was willing to do it once someone else volunteered Simon. I think it was actually Terry. But that was not. If it was planned, what I like to say, if that was planned, they sure didn't tell me about it.
Yeah, fair enough. So obviously, being a performer, you have to be quick on your feet. I mean, you are lighting whips on fire. Literally, you are sort of defying death in a way because if you get cracked with that whip, it could cause a major injury. On a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate your quick thinking?
Or my quick, I mean, I would put it at an 8 or a 9. I mean, just because I mean, improvising lyrics on the fly is honestly, I think, the bigger thing. The whip at this point is mostly muscle memory. It's any sport, any skill. Your body does things that you can't fully explain. I was trying to teach someone how to do a whip trick the other day, and I was like, yeah, you just do this, and they were having trouble with it, and I was like, I have no idea what you're doing because there's so many little muscle movements that I do just automatically at this point that I can't verbalize them. So that becomes the issue. But what I think is actually the harder part of what I do is the improvising song lyrics on the fly. I mean, you have to have a background in improv. You have to make sure that you have a wide knowledge, musical knowledge,
Yeah.
which people are really they're trying to stump me nowadays. It used to be I would never get a song that I didn't know. And nowadays, they're like reaching into the back of their memories for the
Mm.
most niche thing they can find. Um, but it's still fun. We ask around until we find a song we know.
We persevere. Well,
Yeah,
I am going to put that to the test. I'm going to ask you some quick fire questions. You just got to answer them as quickly as you possibly can. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right. Sunset or sunrise?
Sunrise.
All right. Coke or
I'm a
Sprite?
morning person, man. Do you
Coke or
want
Sprite?
long answers for this? Do you want just like one word? What do you think?
Whatever comes to your brain.
Okay. All right.
All right. Coke or Sprite?
Coke.
All right. Do you prefer doing the Renaissance Fair or being on AGT?
Renaissance Fair. Make more money.
Okay. Uh, so I watched another video last night and it said you weren't very a musical person. Do you prefer Hamilton or do you prefer doing, say, Oops, I Did It Again by Britney Spears?
I've done them both so many times that at this point I don't really like either. I always want something that I haven't done in a while.
Mhm.
Hamilton, I like if it's early in the day and I haven't basically run my voice ragged performing all day. Otherwise, at the end of the day, give me Britney Spears. It's easier.
Love it. All right, favorite color.
Red.
Same here. Love it. If you could visit one place in the world, where would you go?
Uh, I want to do. I want to do. Actually, This is not me blowing smoke up your butt. I do want to do New Zealand.
We
I
will.
want to, so I'll elaborate on that a little bit more. And so I haven't done my research on this, but so I want to do Australia. I want to do that whole region. Problem with Australia, the spiders are so large, and I'm not sure I can deal with that. How big are the spiders in New Zealand? Are they just as big?
I mean, we really get any spiders except for like daddy longlegs or whitetails. You don't want to mess with the whitetails, but daddy longlegs, you can put them on your hand and everything. They're just like little puppies.
I mean, I'm not putting any spider on my hand, no matter how big it is. But this is more encouraging to me.
Yeah. Okay. Let's go with if you were not doing the Renaissance Fair or being a famous news reporter, what would you be doing?
I had a couple of other thoughts. I would probably be trying to be either an actor or a writer. That was what I wanted to be as a kid. I'm actually not a news reporter anymore. I quit. So I quit that job in, what was it, February of 2022 to do this full time, or 2023 rather, to do this full time, to be a full-time performer. It got to the point where I was taking all of my vacation time from my radio job and using that so that I could go do my show. And I was like, all right, we gotta commit to one of these or the other.
Okay, fair enough. How many languages can you speak?
I mean, obviously English fluently. I speak French. I like to say, je parle français assez mal, which means I speak French reasonably bad. I would like to say I speak it reasonably well. It's tough to practice in the US. I'm sure it's similar in New
Yeah.
Zealand and Australia of, there you got to go a long ways to get a different language, unless it's Spanish. I do wish I had taken a few Spanish classes just so I could, just be a little conversational in it. But um, I gotta work on my French. I've taken 7 years of French classes between, middle school, which is about age 13 here in the
Mhm.
US, all the way through. I took a refresher course a few years ago after, well after I was out of university.
Yeah.
And when I take the refresher courses, it comes back pretty quickly. But when you haven't exercised that muscle in a while, it goes away pretty quickly.
Yeah, I can tell. I used to speak fluent Spanish, but then I stopped for a bit, and now it's like I can only say like a couple of phrases just to sound
Yeah,
cool.
yeah, yeah.
All right, and a final question, which happens to be the most difficult question, according to the guests that have been on my show. Where do you see yourself in 5 years?
So I actually get that question a lot, and I get the 5 year. What's your 5 year plan? A lot, and I don't like that because I feel like it locks you in. I don't want to plan that far ahead.
Mhm.
So what I have are, what do I want my life to look like in 5 years? And that, I think, is a better way of approaching life and your goals and where you want to be and what you want to do and how to accomplish those goals. So like for me, my big thing, my goal for in 5 years remains the same as when I started this whole social media journey, which is I want to be financially secure and I don't want to be working so much that it is
Mhm,
putting a strain on my personal relationships. I'm still able to enjoy life. I'm able to spend time with my wife, spend time with my friends, spend time with my cat.
mhm,
All of those things. And there was a point last year, uh, basically between June and the end of October, I had no time off whatsoever. I was working all the time. And that got me run pretty ragged. So my goal, I think, for the next couple of years is to cut back on the weekends or the weeks of touring
mhm.
while trying to condense the number of shows a little bit tighter so that I'm still, people can still see my show. I still want to do my show.
Yeah,
But I have, a bit more time.
yeah, exactly. Like, do you find it that even just scrolling through like TikTok or something, you're brainstorming ideas? Because I found with myself, like doing my talk show, doing radio, doing TikTok, and everything else that I've kind of got, I've found like even if I'm like watching a Facebook reel, I'm going, wait, I can do that type of video as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah. Yeah, that's kind of a constant thing. I don't scroll TikTok as much to be honest, just because I don't like what they've done with the algorithm and how they've changed the format there. I like TikTok a lot more when it was people doing silly sounds, or and not just talking at the camera for like 3 minutes so that the video can be monetized.
Mhm.
Um, so I find myself scrolling a lot more on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. And I'm that dinosaur that's still on Facebook. But yeah, I try to carve out some time pretty much all the time of just like, all right, let's scroll through shorts. Let's see what people are doing, what people are saying. Let's make sure we stay relevant so that we know what, the Dirt Man is or what Hawk Tua is when people say it in my show, because those came up this past weekend.
I love it. Um, so I saw a video on my For You page, and it was of your diss track. Can you let us know a little
Yes.
bit more about that?
Well, so Leah posted that video. And she sent the video to me of she's saying like Jackson Whipper draws on his mustache. I grow my own. And Leah and I have known each other for more than 10 years. We're very good friends. I said in the post that Leah's like a little sister to me. I love Leah. So she said that to me. She's like, "Hey, can I post this? Is this okay?" And I was like, "Absolutely, that's hilarious. Please do." And it'll probably go viral, or at least get a solid response. I was not expecting it to get like 15 million views. I was expecting it to get, a few million views, maybe, but not 15 million. I was like, well, now I got to respond because I've been tagging this thing 500 times.
Yeah.
And I heard the new Eminem track while I was driving out to Colorado. And Leah and I actually at first bonded when we first met over that we both really liked early 2000s Eminem. And we were like, oh, all right. I was like, I heard the song. I was like, okay, all right. This is what it's got to be, the Eminem diss track on her. Um, and I was fortunate enough that it was requested in the first show of the first day of Colorado. I was like, yes, thank you. But she just clapped back today, which means
Mhm.
now I got to clap back again. So we're just going to keep this going until one of us loses interest or the public loses interest and stops giving us views. But that's the industry right there.
Right. Love it. Okay. So, of course, doing the Renaissance Fair and doing social media and stuff, do you find that there has been a bit of a niche when it comes to your type of content? Like, do you find that you're always looking at people cracking whips or Renaissance fairs? Like, I saw a video at a Renaissance fair and they were doing like this submission thing where they put you in shackles and make you
Oh
chug a
yeah.
beer. Do you find that you're always looking at those types of videos, or is it like widely spread?
You'd be surprised how little whip cracking or Renaissance Fair stuff is on my For You page or my algorithm. Most of my stuff is because what I do in my show is, it's what I do for work. It's not necessarily what I do on my own time. And I grew up performing kind of separate from everyone else. I didn't get to interact with a whole lot of performers because I was just for most of my career, I was a part-time performer.
Mhm.
Um, so I've never, I love watching other shows, but I don't want to watch other people's shows so that I don't I don't want their acts to bleed into mine. I want my style to be my own style, essentially, if that makes sense.
Yeah, 100%. So, do you think that there could be a time where you could also be doing whip cracking, but also pick up another skill? Like I do, like close up magic and stuff, and I've learned how to do the human blockade, where you stick a nail up your
Oh
nose.
yeah. Oh yeah, I
Um,
know that
I,
one.
I did that for my last interview with Cosentino, who's actually coming here to New Zealand. Do you think that you could also be doing whip cracking, but also find something else to add to your show?
So I have a few other skills that I've developed over the years. I have stuff like knife throwing, plate spinning, very rudimentary juggling. Um, but to put it in to answer your question without fully answering your question is the answer is 100% yes, and I'm working on that because I want to try and start putting together a brand new show. But that is very much in work. That is for either late 2025 or early 2026. So that's going to get relayed.
Love it. Can't wait. Now, out of all of the songs that people in your audience have gotten you to make a parody with your whips, what has been the most memorable?
I mean, the Sephiroth one for me, that was 10 years of waiting for that one. I loved that one. Um, I had to put it on the banned list though, because it was getting requested every single show, and it's really popular among a very niche set of nerds, and they showed up for that video, but it's too niche for the general public. So I do it in a regular show, and the public is like, all right, cool, yeah, you said a bunch of stuff we don't understand. Um, some other ones that I remember distinctly being fun ones. Sound of Silence is always fun. Ave Maria. We used to have a group at when I was working at King Richard's that would come dressed as monks, like Franciscan friars, and they would request Ave Maria, and I was like, oh, I love this. Um, Beyonce's Single Ladies was fun for a long time, and I had that joke about doing the dance as well. That was a long. That has been honestly one of the big challenges about what I do. Posting this stuff on the internet is once you put it on the internet, it doesn't get the same reaction. It's not as good. And back when I was performing off camera, essentially, I could workshop the same joke over and over and over, workshop the same song over and over and over again until I was like, okay, this is the one. But nowadays it's like if I don't post it, someone else is posting it.
Exactly. Um,
Alas.
so I am a big fan of Panic at the Disco. Have you done any Panic at the Disco songs?
Um, Perhaps. So you're gonna hate what I'm about to say, which is that Panic at the Disco and Fall Out Boy completely run together for me. And
Hmm.
so chances are I have done one, but you thought it was a Fall Out Boy song.
Okay,
That's
noted.
that's that's my short answer. It's one of those like I always hear their music and I'm like, oh, I kind of like this. But then it doesn't stick with me enough that I listen to them a lot.
Yeah,
So the House of Memories song, is that Panic at the Disco or is that Fall
yes,
Out Boy?
that is
That's
Panic.
Panic?
Yep,
Okay, all right. That's the one that am expecting to get requested at some point.
right.
But I need to learn that one a little bit better.
I will make sure to come to your show and I'll just stand there and go, House of Memories.
There you go.
All right, are you ready for another game, Mr. Jack?
Let's go.
Okay, so we have done quick fire questions. Now it's time to get a little bit silly. We're going to do wrong answers only.
Oh, nice. I like
So
this.
pretty much, I'm going to ask you a random question, and you just got to say the first word or sentence that comes into that beautiful little mind of yours.
That is wrong.
That is wrong.
Okay.
It's completely absurd. Okay, so what is your name?
Liam Anderson.
Any Liam
That
Andersons?
was that was the fake name that I used sometimes when I was a kid and I wanted to be edgy.
Right, love that.
Yeah.
Okay,
No
um,
elaboration provided.
love that. Okay, uh, what talent show were you on?
What talent show was I on?
Yeah,
My middle school talent show, where I did a massive dance to Christina Aguilera's "Come On Over, Baby."
I'd pay to see that. All right. What are we doing right now?
Oh, we're just having really, I mean, we're having a somber discussion about the geopolitics politics of the South Pacific and all of the U.S. interactions in the Pacific theater and how it relates to future interactions between the U.S. and China, and of course Australia, Japan, Korea, that whole situation. I mean, how we address all of these geopolitical problems in the future. That's really what we're solving right now.
My brain already hurts. Okay. All right. Next one. What's this?
Oh, it's violent.
Love it. All right. Let's go with what do you do with your hands when you're doing the Renaissance Fair?
Uh, it's the next version of American Sign Language. I'm working on it. It's going to start going out in a few years.
Love that. Love it. Okay. What's this? Oh, let me just see the
I
camera.
actually can't even see it, so
There we go.
it's your business card.
Yeah, it's my
It's
business
Paul
card.
Allen's business card.
All right. And final one, let's go with you already told us what your favorite color was. What is your favorite condiment?
My favorite condiment,
Hmm.
it has to be Vegemite.
Oh,
There
see,
is not a wronger answer on the planet.
fair enough.
Us discussing the geopolitics of the Pacific
Hmm.
is more correct than Vegemite being my favorite condiment.
Um, as a New Zealander, I dislike Vegemite with a passion. It is Marmite all the way. Um, just putting it out there.
I
Please.
haven't had Marmite yet, but yeah, no, I had Vegemite and I gagged. I had to spit it out.
Okay. The question is though, did you spread it like Nutella or did you like use it sparingly?
I tried it both. I spread it. One of them I tried just a spoonful of it, and that was possibly the worst thing you could do, and not even a full spoonful. And then the second time I was with some Aussies, and they spread it on toast for me at breakfast, and they were like, "You need to try it again." And I was like, Why would you do this to me?"
Shout out the Aussies. All right, Jack, I've been asking you questions for the last 15 minutes. Now it's time for your chance for redemption, my friend. Anything you want to know about me, ask away.
Oh well, how'd you get into the YouTube? And apparently, it sounds like radio situation.
So I graduated high school, and I got accepted into the New Zealand School of Radio, which is no longer a thing. And one of our little assignments was to find a celebrity to interview. And so I interviewed someone that's very well known here in New Zealand on a soap opera called Shortland Street. Um, and then it just spiraled out of control where I again just finished doing an interview with Cosentino last week. I've done interviews with TikTokers, America's Got Talent contestants, magicians that have been on Penn and Telefolas, New Zealand icons, and now yourself. And then obviously I had to find that platform or that way to be able to get guests to be on my show. And I was already doing TikTok during the pandemic and scrolling through YouTube and thinking, hey, I can do that type of video. And then it just became that little thing of I see someone that looks interesting or that has a popularity status and I asked him for an interview. I've got one coming up with Marlon Webb, who was the Water Malone dude from Vine. Um,
Hmm.
and even to this day, I still pinch myself every day thinking, "Oh my
I
gosh,
remember him.
I've met so many amazing people, and I'm continuing to meet so many amazing people. Like this is the best job in the world."
Yeah. It's a lot of fun. I mean, I remember when I worked in radio, that was always one of my favorite things was the opportunity and let's be honest, the privilege to be able to talk to people that normally you would not get to interact with and have proper conversations with them is I mean, like so I remember I did one July 4th, our Independence Day here, where I covered a concert by the Beach Boys. And I was about 15 feet away from them because I was in the press area. And I was like, yo, this is not something you get to see every day. I got to do and see a lot of fun stuff, talk to a lot of really fun people.
Wow, that would be awesome. All right. Got any other questions for me, Mr. Jack?
So I guess for you, what's the process for you for finding someone you want to talk to, and then what's your process for prepping for that interview? Because like everyone's got a different style, everyone's
Yeah,
got a different approach to it.
exactly. So for the people that have watched my show, I've been doing this show for coming up 4 years now. Um, so it's coming up that big milestone. I do not edit my interviews. I like to keep them as raw as I possibly can, like I'm doing it live on a radio show, or say I'm hosting the VMAs or something. It's live. You cannot change what happens. So, of course, you're going to have technical difficulties. You're going to have weird sounds, like we've currently got our chickens running around. It's currently pouring down with rain. So you get to know those different types of things.
Yeah.
And what I find for when it comes to guests, I will literally just spend most of my time scrolling, and I'll go, hey, this guy seems interesting. I'm going to take a shot in the dark and message them or follow them or something and try and get an interview. Like, I've been a fan of yours for a little while now. Seeing you do the whole do it now, like doing
Oh yeah,
doing that, and I'm like, that's someone that I can have a funny but also an honest conversation with.
yeah.
Um, and just throughout, I've had weird people. Like, I had a lady who's a good friend of mine now, and she brought out one of her adult toys during our interview. I can say that is
Like you
the
do.
weirdest thing I've ever seen when it comes to an interview. But like, I've done like hot sauce. I've got them through people's Instagrams and found really weird photos that I'm not gonna post on YouTube. Like,
Yeah,
it
yeah,
changes throughout. So I, again,
yeah.
love my job.
It's a lot of fun.
It is a lot of fun. I wouldn't change it for the world. All right. Do you have one more question for me?
One more question is, I guess in this YouTube space, so like building a following is such a hard thing to do. And I was lucky in that, like, I started posting and it kind of just happened already. But like, what I think a lot of people didn't realize is on YouTube for a long time, it took me a long time to blow up on YouTube. Where I want to say I was uploading to YouTube for about 9 months before I, had it got any kind of traction there. And that was even with, the growth that I'd already had on Instagram and TikTok.
Hmm.
Um, how do you stick with the grind of being a creator? Because I mean, like, even though you're not doing editing, I mean, just setting all this up is a lot of work, and there's a lot of work that goes into this that's more than just us talking for 45 minutes.
Exactly. Honestly, it to me it feels like second nature. Like, so on TikTok, I'm known as Martin the Man-child. Like, I am the weirdest, wackiest dude you'll ever meet, who again sticks nails up his nose, like raises his eyebrow, plays guitar and everything. Um, and I just hit 10,000 followers on TikTok, and then
Congratulations.
thank you. And then I was using the platform that I've got most of my following on to say, hey, I do other things. Like, I'm on Cameo, I'm on Instagram, I'm on almost every social media platform you can think of, just not the OnlyPans because I've only got pots. Um, and
Oh my God.
um, and I've got two channels. So I've got the talk show, and then I've got another one where I just post wacky videos. Like, my last one was every time I laugh, I put a t-shirt on, and literally I look like a sumo wrestler.
Oh yeah,
Like,
yeah,
I
yeah.
couldn't breathe whatsoever. It was hilarious. And it's just constantly trying to come up with videos and try and come up with ways that I can get my audience to be a part of it, but also make sure that it's my type of video. Like, it's my type of comedy that I like to see everywhere. So it's like a balancing beam. Like, you don't know what's
Yeah.
going to happen, but for all you know, a video could go viral just by you raising a simple eyebrow.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Sometimes less is more.
Exactly. Sometimes less
And
is more.
sometimes when you're working for yourself, doing working extra hours isn't the worst thing.
Hmm. That is true. All right, Jack, while we have been sitting here chatting, and we've been talking about your career and everything, Instagram, TikTok, let the people know what's happening with Jack the Whipper.
Thank you for having me again. Appreciate that.
All right. So where can people find you?
Oh, I mean, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube. Basically, I think the easiest way, if you want to see my show live, is jackthewhipper.com, jacquesthewhipper.com, jacklepiars.com, because I know that no one knows how to spell any of my names. So they all lead to my website. My website has links to all of my social medias. It has links to all of my shows and where you can get tickets for all of my shows, where I will be, as far out as we know where I will be. So right now, through mid-November.
Mhm. Right. Love that. Now, is there a chance in the next, let's say, 3 minutes, I give you a song and you can come up with the weirdest parody you can?
I can try. I can try. I got to know the song though.
Okay, let's
Lay it on me, baby.
let's see. Ba. This ain't Texas, Beyonce.
This ain't Texas. Oh, I actually just got this past weekend. I wrote lyrics for this when I was performing in Texas earlier this year. I was like, yo, this song just came out. People are going to be requesting this song while I'm in Texas. I wrote all the lyrics, and no one requested it while I was in Texas. So you are getting the lyrics that I wrote for Texas when I was going to be in Texas, but no one requested. So it was going to be, this ain't Texas. Oh, wait, yeah, it is. So watch me swing my whips around. I ain't my best yet. I'm a whippy while these thunderstorms come down, down, down. It was apocalyptically raining while I was in Texas, to the point where I had to stop a show early because I was standing underneath the lightning rod.
Oh damn.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It was not great.
Wow. All right. Well, Jack, once again, thank you so much for taking your time. What are you doing for the rest of the day?
Rest of the day, well, I mean, it's about 7 o'clock for me right now, 7 p.m. So I'm gonna make dinner,
Mhm.
probably play a little bit more of the Elden Ring DLC,
Mm.
and I'm gonna head off to bed then.
Love it. It's 1 o'clock in the afternoon, so I am probably going to gloat to all my friends that I was able to chat with you. There's a couple that are incredibly jealous, so I'm going to rub it in their faces respectfully.
As you should, as you should, and let them know with any luck, we should be able to do an Australia, New Zealand tour maybe the next couple of years.
Sounds
It's on my
good.
list.
Sounds good. All right, final questions before we say goodbye. If you could pick someone to be in your position on my show, who would they be?
Trying to think of the people I follow. I really like Melinda Reese, Miss Melinda on TikTok. One, I mean, just really, really wonderful person. Two, he has been online in so many different ways for so long. I think she would have a unique perspective on the online world. So I think that's who I'm going to default to.
Love it. And if you could pick any celebrity, like your childhood crush or someone to be on my show.
And he's a celebrity. So for me, when people talk about celebrities, they always talk about um, who they would like to meet. For me, as when I look at celebrities, I want to think about like who can I have a good conversation with, and I think this will apply to you as well. So like I remember a few years ago, I got to meet one of my favorite YouTubers, Overly Sarcastic Productions, Blue from Overly Sarcastic Productions, um, and I was really nervous before meeting him because I was like, if I were to go meet Harrison Ford, who I loved growing up, Harrison Ford would go through the motions. He would be polite. It would not be a real conversation. But I was like, I think I can have a real conversation with Blue. And I was more nervous for that. So when I think about celebrities, I want to think about like who do I think you can have a real conversation with? And which makes me think of like, okay, I want someone who's a little lower tier, but still a celebrity. And I think the person I've seen that I've enjoyed their interviews a lot is David Tennant. Um,
Mm.
I'm not the biggest fan of them. I was never a big Whovian, but I enjoy his work every time I see it. And he seems just like he's got that riz, He's just he looks like he's fun to talk with.
Yeah, I would love to be able to meet and do an interview with David Tennant. One other who I actually had the privilege of meeting for like a split minute was Jim Carrey, who he's the reason that
Oh yeah,
I do he's the reason I do comedy and I can sound like the Grinch and I try and cosplay every single year at conventions as Ace Ventura because he is just that amazing at what he does and I was so sad that he's retired. But I mean, crazier things have happened. Who knows? Maybe we can see
those are
Mr.
things.
Carey back. But as soon as I jumped on a Zoom call and they're like, "We're not going to tell you who you're talking to. We're just going to have you sit there." And I saw Jim Carrey and he did the whole Grinch face. Literally, I almost fell off my seat. I'm like, "You? It's why?"
Why'd you do that? Why would you do this to me?
And then he's like, "I hear you can do the Grinch," and I'm like, yeah, sure." And then he gets me to, I'm like, "Oh, yes, the Grinch stole Christmas." And he's just like, "Wow, there's some work, but you're doing
Nice,
good." And I'm like, "Thank you, sir."
nice. That's awesome. He was my favorite actor growing up too.
I absolutely love him. He's one of the best. Alrighty, Jack. Again, thank you so much for taking your time. I will make sure to let everyone know that we've done an interview. Expect a TikTok duet as well.
Sounds
And if
good.
there's anyone else you'd like to see on my show, just flip me a message in the old emails and
Will do.
we'll see what we can do.
Appreciate it, Martin. Talk to you
No
soon.
worries. See you soon.
Cheers.